When you hear about a poor and beautiful girl who is mistreated by her evil stepsisters and stepmother, only to end up marrying a handsome prince, your first thought is Cinderella, right? Well, what if I told you that long before Charles Perrault's book and long before the Disney adaptation, there was in Southern Africa a similar folktale about a young lady who found true love after hardship? Would that change your first thought? Stay with us, because this is a tale you do not want to miss. Hello everyone, welcome back to Totem, Tales of the Motherland. My name is Mimi, I'm your host and storyteller. Thank you for joining us today, and for those who are new to the channel, welcome to the family. We are a platform where we celebrate Africa's wonderful cultural heritage through storytelling. We believe storytelling is an important tradition in the African culture, and we are determined to preserve it as best as we can. If you like our content, please do not hesitate to hit the like button, to comment down below, to share with your loved ones, and of course to subscribe and hit the bell button, because that's when you receive notifications about new stories. We are also accepting new stories, new African stories. We understand that the motherland is a huge continent, and it is practically impossible to know each and every story in each and every part of the continent. So if you have any interesting story that you'd like to share with us, we'll be happy to read it and to share it, and keep your name anonymous, of course. Our email is africanstoryteller1@gmail.com. With that being said, I'd like to delve into today's story, which is a perfect illustration of why we do what we do at Totem. It is the story of a young beautiful lady called Natiki in Southern Africa. And the story has been around for hundreds of years. Yes, you heard it right. I hope you enjoy it. As for me, I will definitely see you after the story. Thank you, and let's begin. Natiki. Once upon a time, in the southwestern region of Africa, in a land where sand dunes come in direct contact with the crashing waves of the mighty Atlantic Ocean, and home of the deadly Skeleton Coast and the Fish River Canyon, lived a mother and her 3 daughters. The oldest 2 daughters were not very kind. Unfortunately for them, their physical appearance reflected their bitter nature. The 3rd daughter, however, was very kind and very loving. Her pretty features were indeed a true reflection of her kind disposition. Her name was Natiki. One afternoon, Natiki's mother and older sisters were rubbing themselves with traditional myrrh. They were getting ready for the dance of the full moon, a very well-anticipated celebration where young maidens had a true chance of meeting their soulmate. Natiki was overjoyed. She wanted to go to the dance too, but her evil mother kept giving her chores that would take up too much time for her to make it to the dance. Go fetch the goats and bring them in before nightfall, and make sure to bring some firewood and make a fire to keep the wild animals away. And. Her requests were endless. See, Natiki was treated very poorly by her mother and her 2 sisters. They were very jealous of Natiki's striking beauty, and they did everything in their power to make her miserable. And they definitely did not want Natiki to go to the dance. Oh no, because if Natiki went to the dance, she would certainly catch the eye of a strong and handsome hunter over there. They did not want that. By the time Natiki was done doing all her chores, her mother and sister already left for the dance. she decided to go to the dance anyway. She rubs fat on her body until it has that distinctive copper hue women in this part of southern Africa are known to have. She then combs her hair using a twig of thorns, and then she applies a mixture of crushed bark and oil on her face, which helps her shine and accentuates her pretty features. She puts on her beautiful necklace made of ostrich eggshells. She threads bright beads in her hair and ties dried springbok's ears filled with seeds around her ankles. This would help make a distinct rattling sound when she dances. She puts some porcupine quills in her little goat leather pouch and sets off to the dance. She looks so ravishing and ready to party. On her way to the dance, she made sure to plant a porcupine quill on the ground every now and then to find her way back home later in the dark. She was a bit nervous. She was worried that her mother and sisters would see her and get mad at her. But once she reached the top of the hill and saw the burning open fire and smelled the delicious meat that was being cooked over it, she did not care. She joined in and danced. She danced and danced, with each step rattling the seeds around her ankles. At first, Natiki danced on one side of the huge fire only, because she saw her mother and sister on the other side, and she was afraid they would see her. But her mother and sisters did not recognize her because of the beautiful makeup Natiki applied on her face. They had never seen Natiki with makeup before, so they had no clue it was her. Instead, they wondered, who is this stranger that came alone to the dance? Once Natiki was reassured, she joined a group of women that were singing and clapping. They clapped and sang for a very long time, until late at night. She sang and clapped so beautifully that a young hunter noticed her and took interest in her. He offered to walk her home, and she accepted. As they followed the porcupine quills that Natiki had planted in the ground all the way home, she tells the hunter about the bad treatment her mother and sisters gave her. They surely would be furious to find out that she had gone to the dance, she said. Don't worry, I will take you away from them. I will talk to your mother and ask her for your hand in marriage, the hunter said. Little did the hunter know that the mother and sisters heard their voices as they approached the house. I think I hear her coming back home with a hunter, one of the sisters said. Pfft, nonsense, the other sister said. Who would want to walk with a useless piece of trash like her? Natiki and the hunter finally appeared in front of them, the red glow of the fire making Natiki look even more beautiful. What in the world you think you're doing? Her mother scolded her with her menacing eyes. Natiki was so afraid that she started to shake. It is then that the hunter confronts her mother. I am taking Natiki away tonight, and I will make sure that her pots are always filled with food. Hey, the mother laughs. You must be very foolish, young man. Natiki is completely useless. As she says so, she swiftly attempts to separate Natiki from the hunter. But Natiki is way faster than her. She quickly hops behind the hunter for protection. Outraged, the mother let her leave with the hunter to his people's place, a place far, far away. Since then, whenever her mother and sisters come carrying a heavy load of wood on their back, the sisters yell, Natiki, Natiki, you will pay for this. Yes, one day we will bring you back. But Natiki lived happily and joyfully with her husband and children in his land far away. And just as he promised, her pots were always filled with food. The end. Wasn't that rather interesting? it is pretty neat to see a story we're familiar with in an African context. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you all again for another episode of Tales of the Motherland. As we say where I come from, 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤. Bye now.